is. We can think of religion as something like a box full of stuff that one generation hands over to another. Handing over, in fact, is the literal meaning of the word tradition. And scripture or sacred text is part of that tradition. The tradition includes the languages in which those texts are written, like the Sanskrit of the Hindu Vedas, or the Pali of the Buddhist Tripitaka, or the Hebrew of the Jewish Tanakh. But it also includes how we know what we're reading in the first place, how we know how we're supposed to make sense of it, how we know how to read. Because all text, including sacred text, has to be read, and all text can be read many ways. Every reading is an interpretation. So readers have to be guided by tradition and by the patterns of meaning that are part of their literature. In particular, by the patterns we call genres and literary conventions. This is Richter's point in Religion, a Study in Beauty, Truth, and Goodness, when he talks about the different languages of Scripture, like the language of stories or myths, the particular language of parable, or of laws and rules, the language of legal material, or of poetry, or prophecy, or of the literature we call wisdom literature. Because actually, all those languages start out as literal languages. It's only after we've understood some language literally that we can begin to understand it metaphorically. We have to know what a loaf of bread is to begin to know that when Jesus says, "I am the bread of life," that isn't what he means. To know when to stick with literal language, when to think metaphorically, and how to interpret all of that, we draw on our traditions of interpretation. Hermeneutics, which tends to be a theory of interpretation, helps us answer questions like what kind of text is this, and how should we read a text like this? While exegesis, a different kind of interpretation, includes a set of methods for answering questions like what does this text say, and what does that mean to us? Hermeneutics and exegesis are tradition themselves. Religious people in their religious worlds draw on their hermeneutical and exegetical traditions to help them understand how their sacred text serves to be revelation. That is, text that clears up a little bit of the mystery of ultimate being.